watching. I'm Yana Kundu, and I'm an ESS student from the class of 2024.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Suhani Suri, and I'm also a student, ESS student from the class of 2024.
Hi, everyone. I'm Neil Agrawal. I'm a student from the ESS class of 2024.
Hi everyone, my name is Anya and I was Guru Sir's ESS student for the class of 2024.
So thank you everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I know it's high time for everyone. This particular conversation we are going to see about the 2 years of journey in the ESS class. What all fun moments, what are the memorable events which you all had, especially cherish the moment. Okay, that's why. So I first to go with Yana. Yana, you can take the session.
All right. Thank you so much, Guru sir, for this opportunity. So let's take a step back. Let's try to remember ESS classes because honestly speaking, I used to look forward to them because I used to end up laughing all the time. So let's just look back at some of the top highlights from the 2 years of classes with Guru sir and Shiba ma'am. So any specific moments or anything that you guys remember? I'll tell you mine by the end, so anybody can start. Any particular highlights?
I think for me, one of the main highlights was that for every new topic that we'd start, Guru Sir would always be prepared with like huge presentations, like 700 slides, 800 slides. And I think at the start of that, it was just really funny, but also I'm really thankful that we were able to learn just from the PPTs themselves.
Yes, I
Yeah,
definitely PPTs. Yes, Neil.
If we get back onto Anya and Guru's PPTs, at the start of 11th grade, I remember when Guru created a PPT for us on some lesser known South Indian festival. And that was the moment I realized we're gonna go through a lot of PPTs, but then they'll all be really helpful because then he manages to connect them to both ESS concepts and TOK concepts, which has been extremely helpful. And it's also memorable because the way he delivers the PPTs is extremely enjoyable and entertaining as well. So it doesn't feel like it's just reading out of a textbook.
Yeah, also elaborating to Neil's point, I strongly believe that along with ESS as a subject, Guru Sir always taught us about other general knowledge. I mean, what festivals are going on, what are those festivals about. He used to give a very wide and good knowledge about TOK and how we could connect that to ESS. And I mean, that helped me a lot in paper 2. So, and even in my IA. So I believe that was very helpful. And that's one of the top highlights, which I don't think so others did what Guru Sir did. That was what was a differentiation, from Guru Sir's lessons.
Another highlight that I would specifically like to add, I think they were the quizzes that we used to do. They were embedded into the PPT, and most of those quizzes at the moment, we would find it a little odd because I remember we had this one quiz about the different criterias of the IA, the 6 different criterias. And at the time we were banging our heads, we're like, how is this going to help us? But I think by the end of it, so was just trying to imprint what those criterias, were about. So those small quizzes and small breaks that we used to take in between at that time, it did not really, couldn't connect the dots, but I think in the end, it all just circled back.
Yeah, I agree. And now let's just take a moment and talk about what were the ESS class interactions that we fondly remember, and how do you remember? How do you want to how do you remember it, and how do you want to take it forward with you?
Right. If I talk about interactions, I fondly remember 2 types of interactions that used to happen quite often. So I used to do a lot of planning and countdown interactions in the class. Like he would come in, he would sit us all down, and it would just be about that. So every now and then there used to be an interaction about how many days are left until the exams, or what particularly you should do this month. And I remember in the month of October, I remember this. I don't know if you guys remember this, but sir sat us down. We were done with our summatives, and there was a lot of time left until our next exams. We had time for some of our submissions. So I personally was taking a breather, but then I remember sir saying, this is the calm before the storm, before you start getting all of your deadlines and everything starts approaching. This is the best time to catch up on all of your textbook reading and all the extra things you can do. So I remember at that time, it really clicked to me. He made like a timeline saying there are 5 to 6 months left. You do it well now, then you will be much more relaxed before your actual final papers. So this, for a student like me who gets overwhelmed really easily, I feel like he just laid it all out on the plate. It was challenging, but he said that you have to deal with it. So yes, I remember that one particular interaction.
Yeah, like similarly to what Yana just said, I think because Guru Sir was very clear with the amount of time we had, the few classes we had before our finals, I think all of us were just so focused on our 7 markers and 9 markers. And I just remember all of us bugging him to check this question, check this answer. So this is one of the main interactions that I'm still thinking of. Yeah.
I mean, to just like steer away from the more serious ones, like I think like one of the best parts of our ESS classes was like how fun the interactions were. Like in Gurusa's class, we had his comments towards Sahani and like Vanchika about how experience is talking, and how in Shiba Mam's class, she always used to make like have fun with Yuvraj and Swarat about their submissions. And I think like it's not serious, but then it also creates like an environment that's like really fun and it's easy to like engage with the teachers. So then like the dissemination of like information is much easier, and it's much more close between the teachers and students, and that like really helped me in calming myself down during moments like before large exams that would have impacted our grades.
I completely agree to all of you. And I strongly believe for me, it was that how Guru Sir never left out any student. Like he used to interact with every student. So I never forget my interactions with Guru Sir. Even with Shiba ma'am, with his co-teacher, he would always remember to interact. So there's not even a single student in class who's not got sir's attention in order to keep them engaged, in order to let them understand that they cannot leave the subject alone. They have to work on the subject.
Right, that makes sense. So if we talk about some of the rituals that we had in class, specific unique aspects that I think were only happening in Guru Sir and Shiva ma'am's class. I remember this paper ritual that Guru Sir used to do. So apart from, of course, his detailed calendars that he used to display on the board, there was this one paper ritual that actually now that I look back, it made so much sense. After every giving a checked paper, unlike other teachers who would, of course, they would help you understand where you went wrong or do the questions again. He would keep the marking scheme right in front of you, and he would like put his mouth on mute, and if he would be like, if you can justify what you've written with the marking scheme, I will give you the mark. So this was, I think, a really good practice, because in the final, there is no way we're going to go and talk to the examiner and be like, why did you cut my mark here? So at that time, yes, it used to get frustrating. We used to think, so just one more mark, this will increase my grade boundary or whatever. But then he would just stay calm, because it was a really good practice for the final, because there is no way you can go back and talk to them. So I remember this one ritual. Any other, you guys can add on to this if you remember any other specific unique things that Guru Sir used to do that really stood out for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, this involved like both Gursa and Mashiba, and that was their creation of the massive paper 1, paper 2 booklets with like mark schemes and like the question papers from like I think 2015 to 2022. And like I don't think like in any other class have I received like a collection of past papers along with their mark schemes. Like usually I've had to try and find the mark schemes or like past papers online, and just having them all organized into one massive booklet is like extremely helpful, because then you can just like write your answers, but then also refer to the mark schemes. And I don't think like any other teacher here has put in that much effort into collating a reference that has been as useful as the booklet. And I think that's been like extremely unique to the ESS classes.
Yeah, for me, I think it would be that Guru sir really understood what the IB wants from an ESS student, and he helped us understand it too, because he would place such an importance on connecting every unit together. Sometimes it wouldn't even feel like we're starting different units. It would just feel like we're moving on to the next section of one huge unit. Yeah.
For me, I think the unique thing was, which I'm doing law, so I still remember, I mean, till now, Guru sir always told me that, told all of us, I believe, that if the examiner asks you for 4 points, you should write 8 points. Because even if like one of them is wrong, then you get that, points that you can write if the other ones are right. So I believe that that was one of the unique things. So now I'm just going to talk about one of the, hilarious memories that you guys remember from the ESS class. I'm sure there are going to be many because I remember a lot of it. Even I think during all this, the tedious IB journey, Guru Sir's classes were always the ones hilarious and we look forward to. So just share your experiences.
If I have to talk about one specific memory, but it's very hard to narrow it down. You guys must remember this. By the end, we sir came up with this activity where we got the marking scheme and we had to match the questions. We had to come up with the questions, and it sounds very easy, but it was actually a really difficult activity to do. In my mind, I thought this is going to be like a 5-minute job, but then while we were doing this activity, I remember we used to have class discussions about what the question can be, and there's no one right answer. So I remember Ankita and Guru sir fighting about what's the right answer, and it was just a lot of like friendly debate was going on, and it was definitely helping us understand the command terms and everything. But I don't know, it was the funniest day of ESS class, so very hilarious.
I have like one personal memory which isn't like related to class, but it's directly related to Guru. And that was when on the day we'd submitted our IAs, he had already checked them like on the same day, which was very impressive. But also like I remember he called me out of class, and then he told me to my face, "Ki, this is one of the worst IAs I've ever seen." But then after that, after class ended, I was like really concerned about like the state of my eyes. I went to him, and then he was like, the eye is very bad, but the topic is like very, very good. It's like college level. And then if you work on it hard enough, you can this can become like a really good IA. And then I remember like I I'd gone back and forth with like drafts with him, and then eventually I got like a 24, I think, on my IA. And it's just like a really funny memory to me because like it's really funny to have your work being called like really, really bad in front of you directly.
Yeah, one of the funniest moments, I think, I'm pretty sure all of you remember. Guru sir gave us this really like huge quiz. I think it was topic 8. And the way the questions were framed, I think all of us were panicking about the state of our revision for the finals because none of us managed to get barely even like 5 questions, right? And it was really fun looking at Guru sir's face while we were struggling with the quiz.
Yeah, I agree to all of you. I think Guru sir would ask sometimes to just grab our attention a really preposterous question, and we would just be like, "Sorry, what?" And I mean, that was the favorite part. But for me, the most hilarious, which I'm always going to remember, was his "however." That I think in paper 2, in paper 1, my essay writing, when I was writing the exam, that however sound was always at the back of my head. And I can never forget writing how Weber a counter argument in my one essay. So thank you for that also. That was one of the most hilarious memories for me.
Yes, many, many happy memories. But now, guys, if we talk a little bit about teaching style, we've been through so many teachers over the years. Do you think you can pinpoint that one particular thing that sets Guru Sir apart in terms of his teaching style, Guru Sir and Shiba ma'am, about the way he conducts, the way the ESS classes are conducted? If you can if you can pinpoint at one thing, any of you can start.
I think one of the main differences between other teachers and Guru Sir and Shiva Ma'am's classes were that we wouldn't only refer to our textbook, but almost every other class, he would send us a Padlet link or maybe 5 videos to watch at home. And then we would come to school and discuss those and try connecting them to what we're currently studying. So this is just something that he does differently, and I think it helped me not only in ESS but throughout my IB journey.
Yeah, I mean, I think Anya had already mentioned this earlier, but then both Mr. Guru and Ms. Shiba's attention towards each student was like no one student went unnoticed, like not a single student was left behind, because everybody received their own bit of personal feedback and individual attention from every teacher, like whether or not it was like directly in front of the class or on the side. I'm sure everybody received their own bit of attention. And also just like the myriad of ways and methods they used to teach, like using Cognity, using YouTube videos. And also I remember Mr. Guru regarded his whole, like I think it was like a 2.5 hour session with one of the principal examiners for paper one. And no, you know what, a teacher that does that, because and it's incredibly helpful because it tells you what exactly the examiners who create the paper are looking for. And that's something that I think that's like really unique and very special to Mr. Guru's teaching style.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, what was something that was actually different from others is that I think both Guru Sir and Shiva Ma'am always used to appreciate. I mean, I remember when we used to give the right answer, Guru Sir would give us chocolates, would applaud, and I mean that appreciation just made me want to work more. I mean, made me want to study more in this subject because I remember me, Yana, Anya, all of us, Neil, we all used to raise our hands when Guru Sir used to ask questions and used to be like, we'll answer, we'll answer. Why? Because we wanted that, appreciation, that little chocolates we used to get. I mean, that made us work super hard to just get those answers correct. And I mean, that helped me to learn a lot for my papers. So yeah, that was one of the things.
All right. So now talking a little bit about this one strategy that Sir and Ma'am employed throughout the 2 years was team working. So Guru Sir and Shiva Ma'am, they support team working by having different team leaders. So by that particular technique, do you feel like you guys understood the concepts a little better, or did you see a change or a difference in terms of like other classes? If and anyone can start.
I believe that teamwork really helps because each and everybody has their different strength. I mean, for me, some units were hard and some units were good. For somebody else, I mean, I remember for Anya, some units were pretty easy, and those units for me were hard. And I used to go to Anya and ask her for help. So, I mean, that teamwork really helped me. And Shiba ma'am and Guru sir together used to take classes, and they as individuals also had their own strengths. So I believe that helped us a lot because both the teachers, together made us learn a lot of things. So yeah.
I agree with Sohani, just like she said, that by working in teams, we're able to add to the points that someone else could use for their answers. And I also feel like Shiva ma'am would tell us to work in maybe pairs or groups of 3 and 4 to explain one topic to the entire class. So in that way, the other students could view the syllabus in the perspective of another student and really get the point that we're talking about.
I mean, yeah, to add on to Sani's point, which is how both Guru Sir and Mishiba had taken classes together. I remember like Mishiba is not completely familiar with like the way uh the ESS examiners work and how they mark certain points. And whenever she struggled to explain something, she used to hand it over to Guru Sir. And also what I'd said earlier about like how a friendly environment was created. I think their interactions about how sometimes they used to let the other teacher explain certain concepts because they knew they would be able to better than they can. Also, like implicitly tells us that it's okay to ask somebody else for help. And like whenever students that used to struggle were able to ask students that might have been better at a topic for help, and it's not like they were ashamed to ask it because everybody is trying to do the best they possibly can. And the fact that they asked each other for help is very empowering for us, because then it also tells us that it's okay to ask for help whenever you are struggling to learn or explain something.
Right. If I could just add on to Anya talking about the pair activities that we used to have, that we used to do in Shiva Ma'am's classes. And even when Guru Sir used to make any sort of team leaders or something, I feel like maybe it's a psychological thing, but then it was a very smart strategy, because when somebody is putting in that trust in you, if somebody's telling you to prepare this one particular topic, I personally am that way. I would give it my best, try to understand it, in detail, because I don't want to embarrass myself in front of the class, A. But B, somebody has trusted me to teach somebody else that topic. So I realized that I think I took one class, or one, like I was supposed to prepare a subtopic for the water unit, and the strategies for that particular subtopic, I think they're still on my fingertips, like till date, because I did them so well so that I don't fumble in class, and I teach them well to my classmates.
I completely agree to all of you. So, since we have done IB, since we have done ESS class, and we are no longer going to, do anything like that as such. So, what are the two learnings that you would like to take forward from the ESS class, and like what Guru Sir and Shiba Ma'am have told you people? What would you like to take forward in your life?
For me, I feel like Guru Sir was very strict about this. It was don't procrastinate on your work and set deadlines for yourself. Even in class, he would tell us that by October we have to finish the syllabus, and that by maybe March or April we would be completely done with our IELTS. So this helps. I think this will help me in the future also for planning my day and everything accordingly.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think one thing that was specific to Gurusa was how if he made a mistake, he would be extremely apologetic about it. Like I remember one time he made a mistake in how he was explaining something for like the next 2 months. He kept going, "I'm very sorry, children. I am super sorry. I shouldn't have made this mistake." And like I think that sort of accountability is like something that I wish to manifest later on in life, because it tells us that you're actually sorry about what you did, and then also that you value what you're saying, you value the people who you're talking to so much that if you make a mistake, that you understand how it might affect them. And I think that sort of accountability is extremely helpful to maintain, to keep yourself in check as well. So that's something that I will be following a lot.
Right. So, two guru mantras that I will follow from now on, I hope to follow them in my life, is planning everything. Plan, in fact, pre-plan even your planning. I think he's the most mastermind planner in this world. And it's something that I will use in university, definitely, but also generally in life, because I think planning just makes everything really really simple. I used to see, I got really scared by the fact that, oh, my primary data collection is so bad. I got so scared about it, but I started planning for it and I did it properly. And even the most daunting tasks can be done with planning. And secondly is basically going into the detail of everything that is available to you and dissecting every resource you have. So he, like, again, I talk about marking schemes a lot, but then Guru sir would always do this one particular practice. He would take any sort of resource material that the IB was giving us, and he would dissect it. Not, he wouldn't just look at what's the explicit meaning, but always going into it implicitly. So I will use this in my life with whatever type of resources that has been given to me and make the most of it. So yeah, thank you for
Agreeing to that, I believe that for me, the two lessons that I always remember. So I remember that the last day of my exams, when I met Guru Sir, he told me that, you should always interact with people the way you have always been interacting. So he always told me to be confident and talk to everybody, be social, always interact with people. I think that's what is really helping me survive my university right now. And that's the first lesson. Thank you, Guru sir, for actually telling me to continue that. So I needed somebody to actually look out for that and actually correct me or tell me about it. So thank you so much. And the second thing I really learned, which is also super helpful to me, which I like to take forward, is taking feedbacks. I remember how Guru sir used to be so, adamant on telling us to come to him, take feedbacks, and so on. I think those feedbacks really helped me in my IA, in my papers, for me to achieve these marks. And I think what Guru sir told me about feedbacks, I use that for other subjects as well. So I think that helped me in my academics overall. And in the upcoming assignments I'm going to do at my university, also feedbacks would help a lot.
So thank you so much for coming and taking your time for this podcast and then for also this interview. Soon, definitely, we will meet again in our life. Thank you, children.